Hey, this is Matt Butcher. I just wanted to show you a quick demo of a webhook that we are working on. So the idea is we wanted to create a webhook with Spin that would connect Trello with Slack. Now, Trello supports outbound webhooks where I can create a URL and give it to Trello, and every time something happens on Trello, it'll fire off that webhook. And Slack supports inbound webhooks in which I can send a message to one of Slack's webhooks to post a message in a channel. So in effect, the application that I'm writing is just to connect two different webhook systems. So here's my code. It is a basic Spin component. It uses the HTTP component. This is going to be the listener that is triggered every time Trello sends an inbound message to me. And the most important part of this is this handle webhook function. And this does basically all the big work. It's about 20, 25 lines of code from here to here. And it's doing pretty much all the important stuff. So what it does is it receives the request that comes from Trello. It parses out that request and formats it into a webhook object. I've got some structs down here that it deserializes into. These are just very simple structs. I didn't use most of the fields that Trello sends me. I just wanted to get information about the card that's being moved, the source, the origin column, and then the destination column, right? So here are the cards. There's like 3 columns: to read, reading, and done. And then as the card gets dragged, Trello fires off a webhook. I receive that, parse that information out, and then I want to format a message to send to Slack. So essentially line 35 is the important thing. I want moved, and then the name of the card, from, and then the origin, to, and then the destination column. And then I want to format all of that back up as a Slack message, and then fire off a request to Slack to send it to Slack, which should notify me, okay? So if I run that then, and again, this is compiled as a straight up Spin application, and you can see here, I just called Spin build up. I set a public IP, so I'm listening on a public IP. What you're seeing right now is a DigitalOcean droplet here. And then I set one environment variable, the Slack URL, which is what I use here on line 49 to tell the outbound HTTP request where to go. So given all of that, a quick tour over the code, let's see how it works. So the application I wanted to write was a reading list application. I wanted to be able to write down when people recommended books to me. And then, in my Slack channel with my friends, as I start reading a book, send a kind of automatic notification to them as I go through my reading list. And then they know, oh yeah, Matt's reading that book. Now we've got something to talk about, when we hang out or something like that. So here I've got a couple of books here, and if I grab one and drag it from the to read to the reading column, it'll take just a moment, and then I'll get a message right here saying moved Pride and Prejudice by Austen from to read to reading. Say I spend a couple of days reading that, and then I'm done. I drag it over to the done column, and again, right away, I see that message here. So again, what's happening behind the scenes is Trello, I've configured Trello with a webhook so that when a card moves, Trello calls my Spin application. It sends that card data to Spin, which parses out the JSON, then reformats it into this message, moved Pride and Prejudice from reading to done, and then sends that message off with an inbound webhook to Slack. So there you go. A very quick, sub 100 lines of code kind of application that links up 2 different web services using webhooks. Thank you very much.